Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
We're just about 2 weeks away from the 2026 NFL Draft, and it's time for another mock draft here on Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm Joe Goodberry. I think this is our third mock draft that we are going to fully do. I know I did like some scenarios at 10 and different mocks that way, but a 1 through 7 rounds. This will be the second to last one I do. So the last one will be probably right before the draft, the Wednesday night maybe, right before the draft. And that'll be the final one. This is the one leading up to that. We still have a lot of news that's going to happen. We still have a lot of chips that are going to fall. And if you're wondering what it is at this point in the draft season, it's that teams are getting together now. The pro day circuit's over. You're bringing all your coaches back in. You have your scouts grades. You have all this information you have gathered. And now's the time to get into the war room for the next 2 weeks straight. These guys are there every single day, and they're going over scenarios and arguing and deciding the board and making it so when they get on the clock, it's not much of a debate, right? You may have a couple guys you got to sort out and make sure you know that, we're ending up in this scenario. We didn't project. Are we taking this guy still at the top? So whatever it is, they're hammering that out now. So this is when we're going to get some news. There's going to be some visits lined up, 30 visits. Jeremiah Love is in Cincinnati yesterday at the time of recording this. So Bengals are doing their homework and getting ready. But let's do a mock. Let's dive in. Let's try and use a new simulator that we haven't used before and see what it presents us. And now that I'm at about 132 prospects watched at this point, I feel really good about it. So every time we do a mock draft, I feel better about the players that are there because I've got my favorites in each round. And I'm excited to let's fix the Bengals with this mock draft here. And this is also, before we go, I keep trying to get into it and then I think of something else. This is also after they signed Jasir Taylor and Kyle Duggar. If you're looking for film on those, that was on the last Bengals on the Brain episode. Check that out. You can find it on the First Star Media YouTube channel right here. Click on the previous videos and get caught up. It's mock draft time. We're using Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator to give us the scenarios here. The last mock I will do, I won't use a simulator, and I'll give you the 7 players, they have 7 picks, right? Is it 8 picks? Doesn't matter. I'm going to give you the players that I think they will pick. But this is a good way to give yourself some scenarios here. Look on the left side there. Fernando Mendoza goes number 1. We expect that. Arvell Reese, number 2. I'm with it. I think it's a good pick, Jets. They could use anyone on the defense, and I'd be excited to see how they use him also. They signed some edge guys. I think Arvell Reese can be an edge, be a linebacker. He's one of the rare actual hybrid guys that can do both. And then the Cardinals go Jeremiah Love, take the top offensive player, non-quarterback in the draft. They got to continue to build up that offense. We're pretty much starting from scratch this year. We'll see how that goes for them with really no quarterback, right? David Bailey at 4 to the Titans. Love it. Good pick. Got the new logo there too. I like that. Sonny Styles to the Giants. I think that is the expectation at this point. I wouldn't be shocked if they took Jeremiah Love also, but Love's not there here, and David Bailey's not here. Sonny Styles makes a ton of sense for them. Francis Maui Noah for the Browns. I think he was the 3rd highest favorite betting odds right now. It was Monroe Freeling, Carnell Tate, and Francis Maui Noah. So I'm with it for the mock draft. That works. Jordan Tyson is our first surprise. Washington wanted to go with a big receiver, I guess, here. Someone different. Other than Carnell Tate, Tyson's data is strong. His 2024 tape was really good. He's a very acrobatic outside type receiver. He can be really, really good. He's just dealt with injuries every single year. And then Carnell Tate for the Saints. I like it. They've been dealing with injuries at their receiver spot with Chris Olave. Carnell Tate should be a good complementary piece for that and give them 2 receivers. Maybe they're trying to build around Tyler Shuck, right? And then number 9, Mansour Delane to the Chiefs, which leaves us with Caleb Downs, Ruben Bain, Spencer Fano, Vega Ioane, Mekhi Lemon, Kenyon Sadiq, Monroe Freeling, and Dylan Thieneman. And then also Jermon McCoy. I shouldn't stop right there. I probably shouldn't stop without mentioning Keldrick Falk as well. So what would be the Bengals' thought process as I think right now? Well, put Caleb Downs on the board, put Ruben Bain on the board. And then I would have to say we're thinking probably Jermon McCoy, and then maybe Keldrick Falk. So the 3 would be Downs, Bain, McCoy, right? Do I think they like Thieneman as much as I do? I don't know that. Should they? Yes. He might be a top 10 player in this class, to be honest. Should they consider Spencer Fano? Yes, they should. I've taken him in mock drafts as well. He can play guard for you. You want to spend to keep protecting Joe Burrow, or are we happy just being the 15th best offensive line, right? So I would be in on Fano, Freeling, any of these guys. I won't have a problem with. I think if you end up in this scenario, though, what would the Bengals do? I think they would go Ruben Bain. And I know what it sounds like with the people that are worried about his arm length. And I had this discussion quite a few times on Twitter. So if you follow me there, he does have very small arms, clearly. We don't have too many players that have even played defensive end at this high level with arms of that length. There's not enough data to really say he won't succeed. He will be an outlier, though, because most guys typically are bigger than this, have longer arms. But his wingspan, which measures your entirety of your reach and your length, your shoulders and arms, both arms, is in a below average area, not a historically bad area. He's very close to guys like Nick Bosa and Aiden Hutchinson in the exact same wingspan as Trey Hendrickson. So those are stubbier guys, but your wingspan matters. You don't just use this arm length here as a pass rusher. You do use your shoulders, at least half your body, plus arm length. And why do you do that? Well, look, think of the long arm move when you're going under, dipping under, and you're lifting, and you're turning yourself sideways so that you can't be blocked. You can get past your length issues if you have really good hands, really good power, pop in your hands, and you have great agility and bend. And Ruben Bain has all of that. He hits all the markers. I think you'd have a chance to really rebuild this pass rush with a guy like him that will also kick inside and play some defensive tackle. You could have some scenarios where it's Myles Murphy, Boye Mafe, Shamar Stewart, and Ruben Bain as your defensive lineman. And a nickel rush, like obvious rush situation. That could be pretty deadly. Okay, we're in round 2 now. We got a offer to trade back. This coming from the Bucs. I think the Bengals would consider trading back in a lot of scenarios. Remember, the top 40 picks last year all got guaranteed deals. 41 is going to be asking for it this year. Do the Bengals want to do that? First, let's look what's on the board on the right side here before we accept or counter or reject. On the board, and we've taken a defensive end already, so we're not going to worry about that. I see Zion Young there. But Brandon Cisse, D'Angelo Pons at corner right away. Christian Miller at defensive tackle. Do we want to go back to the defensive line? Maybe. Chris Johnson at corner. R. Mason Thomas at edge. Love him, but we just went edge. Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker. Chris Brazell, wide receiver. Gabe Akis at edge. Again, we already went there. Chris Bell at wide receiver. Manuel Prenon at guard. Do we want to go there? So there are a lot of guys here. Is it worth going back 5 spots? Can we think of 5 players that we would still take here? I wouldn't take Cisse. I'm much higher on Pons and Chris Johnson. I like Jacob Rodriguez. I would draft him. I would consider Christian Miller here. So does that give me 4? Is that enough for us to go back? I don't know. I'd be weary of it, although I do want that extra third. And I do think it's likely that the Bengals will trade back. But we're going to table it for now. I want to see who went just to get an idea if you guys are with me there. All right, so Caleb Downs goes right after Vikings trade up. Mekhi Lemon, Monroe Freeling, Avion Terrell, Jermon McCoy to the Bucks. Denzel Boston to the Jets. A lot of receivers are gone then. So Dylan Thieneman lasts till 18. Oh, so the Cowboys traded back and go with Hakeem Messidor and Kenyon Sadiq. That's fun for them. Caden Proctor in the first. Yep. TJ Parker in the first. Omar Cooper. Bills go Caden McDonald, go for the nose tackle. Peter Woods goes in the first. So if you're wondering if, we can double up on those guys, there is a chance they get to round 2. Caleb Banks in that. Caleb Banks goes to the Jags at 39. KC Concepcion, love him as a receiver, goes to the Texans. Lee Hunter, be an interesting one. Blake Miller. Okay, so I'm comfortable with where we're at here. I do think I would consider that trade back. So here's what I would be thinking in round 2. I would love to have D'Angelo Pons, and I'd put him in the slot, right? I think he could be a jetpack Mike Hilton. We've done a film review on him. We've done film on Chris Johnson. I'm also a huge fan of Chris Johnson. I think he deserves to go in the first round. Those would be the 2 guys I'd be thinking of. I know a lot of people would say, we really need a linebacker. Take the linebacker. Jacob Rodriguez is really good. I agree. I do think he's really good too. If you're going off like our draft spreadsheet, which you guys will have access to soon, not yet, we're almost there. Rodriguez, Pons, and Johnson are all first round graded players. So if the Bengals were able to get them in round 2, I am for it completely. And I think I've said this quite a few times. But if you keep looking, there are other linebackers that would make a ton of sense. And there are other players that would make a ton of sense, like taking Jake Golday, Keontae Scott, Anthony Hill, AJ Halsey, if you want a safety, Tredan Stukes, kind of a safety slot defender, Keith Abney at corner. There are a ton of players. I like Derek Moore a ton. We're not going to be able to take another edge. But I think those trades, if it's still there, it's not there anymore. So you either get it or you don't get it, huh? All right. So we're not going to get that trade. So we're going to have to make our pick. And for me, I'm going to go with a corner that data-wise should turn out to be really, really good. And despite the size being small, I think he's fantastic. I think D'Angelo Pons is worth the pick. And I think you're going to have a small corner room in general. I don't care. I think all 3 guys would be good. It would give you a strength on your team. We're talking about having a strength on the defensive line. I think with Ruben Bain, you can really rebuild that pass rush. He can be that guy. He's going to accumulate a ton of pressures, give you that power rusher, but he's the most agile guy they have in that front. And then with D'Angelo Pons, you're getting a guy who, data-wise, we keep data on all the top corner prospects, right? All of the guys in the top 10, almost all of them in the top 10 are multiple Pro Bowl, all-pro type players. D'Angelo Pons is just the next guy on that list now. His data profile is extremely strong, and that's with his size being knocked. I think you kick him in the slot where he hasn't played, so you're going to have some, Jasir Taylor and Jalen Davis showing him the way. But once he's ready to go, he's ready to go. And I think he can be on the boundary. There's no reason why he can't. It's not like he just got smaller all of a sudden. The Bucs are back here and offering to move for 5 picks back, and they'll give us a 2027 third. And I got to give up 189. No thanks on that. I'm going to reject that one. Okay, let's see who went real fast before we start and finish off day 2. Christian Miller and R. Mason Thomas and Jacob Rodriguez. Next 3 picks make a ton of sense. Right. Chris Johnson went at corner. Gabe Akers went. Ted Hurst went. AJ Halsey. Okay. Malachi Lawrence. Tredan Stukes. Anthony Hill did make it into round 3. 3 picks away from us. Dennis Sutton went 1 pick ahead of us at 72. We can talk about this now. We've gone back-to-back defense. This likely means the Bengals would go offense here. I know they could still use a linebacker. I can hear you. But the Bengals rarely go defense. They typically mix one in. Now, they have before. The Miles Murphy draft, right? We went Murphy, DJ Turner, Jordan Battle. The Dax Hill draft went, so 2 years in a row, went Dax, Cam Taylor-Britt, Zach Carter. They have done it, and they have done it recently. But typically, they don't. I'm going to be open to it, but I'm just saying, when I see a guy like Max Clare there, I think that's right up their alley. I think, honestly, tight end, in a lot of ways, the Bengals are going to draft one. And they're going to draft one probably starting in the 3rd round to the 7th round. I would bet money. If you're going to say out of the defensive end corner, I think they're going to draft one of those too. I would bet money on that. The next position I would bet they draft over linebacker would be tight end. And I really like Chandler Rivers. You could have waited another round. I could have went with Jacob Rodriguez and then came back for Chandler Rivers. Got to tell you, I might like that instead. Dominique Orange is a nose tackle. Do you want to go in that range? Offensive line is always on the table. Zakee Wheatley at safety. Skylar Bell at wide receiver. Caleb Tiernan at tackle. I think Crownover is way overrated. Justin Jolie could be a very fun tight end receiving threat. Jake Slaughter, very good center prospect. Kyle Lewis at linebackers, kind of nickel, safety. Can we make another pick in that spot? Probably not. I'm just looking to see who's further down here to help formulate who we should take here. I'm wondering where Oscar Delp is and why I don't see him. And maybe he already went, and maybe I'm tripping a little bit. So I'm just going to double check here. Yeah, I don't see Oscar Delp. So search. Let's see how this works. Delp. He's 135. No, he's going in the 3rd round, boys and girls. Yep, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait it out, and we're going to go in a different direction. If you want to know about Josiah Trotter, now's the time. So Josiah Trotter didn't test before the draft, but I think he's a good enough athlete going forward. He defeats blocks very, very well. Knifes through the trash up front to get to ball carriers. He's a heat-seeking missile. He locks on these running backs very, very well in the box. I don't think he has great range. I don't think he drops back into coverage, and they didn't really ask him to do it. They told him to blitz, but I don't think he's very good in coverage right now. And is he the Sam type of linebacker that the Bengals are probably looking for? I don't think he is. So I don't know if Josiah Trotter is the guy we want here. As, you know, a lot of people are like, get a linebacker. I don't know that he's the one. So I'm going to keep looking here and see who we've got. So this is just a list of the offensive players. Not trying to keep the board too limited here. But you know what? At this point, let's take the top offensive player. How about Max Clare from Ohio State? Max Clare, who was, I think, underutilized. The explosion in receiving ability he showed at Purdue didn't fully translate to Ohio State for whatever reason. I still think going in the third round, though, is where he's at. And a young producer that can block, that I don't think he's as good as a blocker as the other Ohio State tight end. But at the same time, I think he can do it. He's a good mix between what you get with Drew Sample and what you get with Mike Gesicki. So while the tight end class is super strong, and I probably could have waited to the fourth, they don't have a fifth round pick, but sixth to get a complimentary piece, I think Max Clare could have had a top 2 round type grade. But it just, you know, for whatever reason, he's been, I think it's this class, he's been brought down a little bit. He didn't test before the draft. It's going to hurt his grade a little bit. But a good player. What are they offering here? 110 to go back to 113 and pick up 214. I would love to. This would be a good spot to trade a little bit. Yeah, let's accept that. Go back 3 more picks with the Colts who went Caleb Tiernan and then Caleb Elarms Orr, and then Katron Allen. Now we're back on the clock. The highest rated guy, Jalen Kilgore. Would love to get Jalen Kilgore in round 4. I'll tell you what. Jonah Coleman, I'd want to add a big running back to this room. I would love that. Romello Height, you want an explosive edge rusher to add to this room? I think we can kind of, you know, put edge rusher on the back burner as of now. Julian Neal, opposite of D'Angelo Pons. This is one of the bigger corners in the class, right? Maybe the best press corner that you can find. I love this whole top right here, actually. Kilgore, Coleman, Height, Neal, Parker, Raritan. I really like that. Raritan, I think, is one of the more underrated tight ends in this class. We're not going to go back-to-back tight ends, though. Brian Parker, though, a lot of ways screams. Like, he's listed as a center here. He can play tackle, probably in a pinch. He's more of a guard and potential center. Just looking to see if there's anyone else there, because there's not a lot of defensive players. Jalen Kilgore makes sense if you want to get a safety depth. I think he's going to be a better safety. He played a lot of slot corner at South Carolina. I think he's going to be a better safety in the league, and he's 21 years old. I'm leaning that way right now. If you're wondering where I'm looking while I'm looking at some of these other players, Barham right here as a Sam linebacker, I am in on that. Actually, he may be over Jalen Kilgore for me. Jayshon Barham. Oof, I really got to think about that. Let's go to edge here. How many of these guys could be that Sam linebacker? Romello Height could be. Jayshon Barham. All right, let me look at linebacker. Aiden Fisher, Kayshawn Elliott. Torian York, he's small. Jack Kelly could. Ooh, we're really getting down to the end here. You know what? I really might like Jayshon Barham as a linebacker Sam edge player. And he is a very physical, very good run defender, a bit wild. But that wildness also makes him a very strong, violent type player in the front seven. That's your other linebacker there. So we're going to end up with Demetrius Knight, Barrett Carter starting unless they go sign a veteran linebacker. And then Barham is your Sam linebacker, guy that can play on the edge, play in the 3-4 defense if you have to. And again, I know we already took an edge like Ruben Bain, but I don't know if Bain's that stand-up, move-around guy. He could be for you. But and I don't think Shamara is either. Miles Murphy's kind of odd fit for that. These are very long guys except for Bain. But I do think you could do Boye Mafe as that spot. And he did a lot of that with Seattle. So Barham gives you, if you want to do more 4-3 or bear fronts, gives you that flexibility. To me, he's a linebacker and an edge Sam linebacker. We don't have a 5th round pick. So these picks are going off the clock here. I want to go to the all side on the right there, see who's remaining. I still want to get a receiver. I still want to get a safety. I still want to get an offensive lineman and maybe a running back. Receiver, safety, O-line, running back. 4 picks. Do we have enough for that? I'd like to get a defensive tackle too. All right, here we are. Kendrick. Oh, is this is all for all? Okay. Kendrick Law, Josh Cameron, Marlon Klein at tight end, Jeff Caldwell at wide receiver from Cincinnati, Eli Heidenreich could potentially be our wide receiver and running back, return man type, gadget player. I really like him. He's got great data. Tom Brady would be all over Eli Heidenreich in that Patriot era, Tom Brady era Patriots. So why not do the Joe Burrow, right? It's a fun player. I'm just looking to see if there's anyone else that really grabs my attention here. Le'Veon Moss at running back. Jalen Husky at safety. Would love to get him in the next round if he's still there. That'd be a nice safety to add to this room. Renee Conga at defensive tackle. Would love him in the next pick as well. And if you want to go with another inside linebacker type, Red Murdoch could be that. Be a downhill physical player. I think that leads to me really liking the idea of Eli Heidenreich here in the 5th round. 5th round's where he's going to go, right? This is a good athlete guy. So he played at Navy, and we're talking about very condensed offense, a lot of option stuff still. He's listed at running back for some people, listed at wide receiver for others. He played receiver, but he kind of looked just like a gadget type. You could see his route running needs time, but he gets open. He's a tremendous athlete. So we're on the clock already here. And who are the guys I was saying? None of these top guys, although I like Daquan Wright if we had another pick here. If we didn't spend it on tight end already. So some of you are probably going to start knocking me on tight end. Yeah, Jalen Husky would be a great pick here. Renee Conga. I wonder, though, if we're not missing somebody. Cole Wisniewski as a safety, depth safety in the next round. I'd be in on that if that's how it went. Where is my guy, Landon Robinson? We're going to go for all these not young guys. What I want to say is the Navy. I don't see him. He must have already went, right? Unless I'm tripping. Which is possible. So I don't see him. Okay. Am I on defensive tackle? Jordan Vandenberg I'd take with the last pick. I tell you what. All right. Back to focusing here. The highest rated guy for us would be, I just want to double check safety here because I do want to get a safety that could potentially start for you or play for you. These top 2 right here are right on my board. Bishop Fitzgerald that late, to be honest with you. Whitehead Williams is a guy I'm interested in at the very least. If he goes undrafted, I'd like to sign him. Any true linebackers, Red Murdoch, Gentry, who's weird looking dude, but pretty effective. Justin Jefferson's okay. Jimmy Rolder, I would take. Yeah, I'd like a lot more picks here if we could. We don't need another one of those. Another edge guy at this point. Edge has been filled pretty well. Okay. I think the way it lays out, we've already gotten a receiver. I think we want to go with Jalen Husky, the safety out of Maryland. This is one of our highest graded projected day 3 guys on the draft sheet. Good ball production, good overall production, tackles and everything. Tested like in a slightly above average athlete at his pro day. I think he comes in as a depth guy and maybe could turn into a low end or average starter. And if that's what you're getting in the 6th round, I mean, how many people are really upset with that? Let's go with at this point now as we're back and getting to our last few picks. We got this one. We've got 221 and 226 still coming. I would love to get an offensive lineman if there's one here that really stands out. So I'm looking through that real quick. It's like the O-line always get picked apart. Really. Will Kazmarek is who I was thinking of earlier. Honestly, I take Will Kazmarek here and get a blocking tight end. Really just completely flip the O-line room. Micah Morris would be the one out of Georgia. You want a guy that could eventually start at guard for you. He's been lights out in pass protection. Tested really well. 6th round. I think if he goes in the 3rd or 4th round, don't be absolutely shocked by that idea. I think that could happen. And I want to come back and get either Renee Conga, or let's go all the way down. Did I see Vandenberg? Did I miss him? I must have. I thought he was in the 6th. Jordan Vandenberg out of Georgia Tech. Do we have one more pick? I think it says it at the top. Not very efficient. 226. So I still have one more pick after this. I can get Vandenberg with that one. So let's go from the top here and think, what could really help us? Another linebacker, an actual like inside linebacker type. Jimmy Rolder would make a ton of sense as a guy that can be an inside linebacker. And I thought he was better in coverage. He made a lot of splash plays in coverage, pass breakups, and things like that. I think Jimmy Rolder makes the back end of this room better and could potentially win a job in a year or two and be a starter. The last guy I'm going to go with then is Jordan Vandenberg here, even though Renee Conga's up there. I think getting a run defending guy that tested, he is the most athletic defensive tackle this year. He knifed through a lot of tackles for a loss. I believe he's a little bit older, but should be able to come in and be a run defender early in his career if he can play for you, especially as a 3-4, maybe a 5-tech type defensive end, defensive tackle. It's a very heavy defensive draft for us. We did get a wide receiver, running back type in Heidenreich. We did get a tight end in Max Clare. We did get an offensive lineman in Micah Morris, someone I'm huge on. So if the draft, Will Kazmarek finally went. If he was going undrafted, we're giving him a big deal. But here's the recap here. We did trade back. That's right. It's how we ended up with an extra 7th. That extra 7th, 226, is Jordan Vandenberg. But getting Ruben Bain, D'Angelo Pons, Max Clare, getting Jayshawn Barham, Eli Heidenreich, Jalen Husky, Micah Morris, Jimmy Rolder, a lot of J names. Jalen, Jimmy, Jordan, Jayshawn, perfect. J names, put your trust in those guys. They got you. Rolder and Vandenberg to round it out. They're giving us a C. They don't know what they're talking about. You nail those first 3 picks. Those first 3 guys are contributing. Barham probably starts as your Sam, and we're getting him in the 4th round. And then I think all these depth guys make the roster. I think Heidenreich makes the roster. Husky makes the roster. Morris, Rolder, and Vandenberg all make the roster and probably push some people. Maybe Vandenberg doesn't. Maybe he's got to fight a little bit more for his defensive tackle spot. Beat out Chris Jenkins. McKinley Jackson is still in there. Don't rule out them drafting a nose tackle, by the way, while I'm talking about McKinley Jackson. I think they would like to. You know, that Dominique Orange, the Lee Hunters, when those guys pop up, don't be shocked if that's the way they go. I think Caden McDonald would be a great pick for them if they were to trade back to like 25 and make that pick there. So tell me what you think of this mock draft. How bad was it? Where did I go wrong? Last time I did a mock draft, someone was like, you just talk too much. Just make the picks. Don't you want to see the process? Don't you want to see what I'm thinking? Maybe it's not exactly what you're thinking, but this is how I go through it. It takes me 20 minutes each time I want to do one of these mock drafts when I'm just messing around on my own. The ones I don't even post take me 20 minutes, sometimes longer. So you got one more left, and that'll be right before the draft. We're all full steam ahead now. We got a couple video reviews, and I don't even know if we're going to get to the players that I wanted to. What we're going to do next, the next few episodes are going to be, who are the underrated guys? Who are the overrated guys? Where's the value? Where's the consensus wrong at? Whose data profiles are the strongest? We're going to do like 5 players of each of those types. And I think those might give you a glimpse of what I'm thinking for this draft as we are reaching that final steps before the draft. And the Bengals have a lot riding on this. It's a very important offseason once again. And I'm glad you're with me here on Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. Thanks for staying until the end, and until next time, Hoo day.